acting mode.
I'm good. Okay. Do I go now?
Yep.
Okay. 50 years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree was a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who have been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. But 100 years later, the life of the Negro is sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. But 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. But 100 years later, the Negro, still languished in the corners of American society, has found himself in exile on his own land. So we have come here today to dramatize this shameful condition. In a sense, we have come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise to all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted this promissory note, insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has written the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. So go back to Alabama, go back to Mississippi, go back to South Carolina, go back to Louisiana, go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. So there's no wallow in the valley of despair. I tell you today, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream which is deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will one day be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will be raised in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low, and all the crooked places shall be made straight, and all the rough places shall be made plain, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This will be the day. This will be the day when all God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom reign. And when this happens, when we allow freedom to reign, when we let it rain from every tenement and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, to thank God Almighty, we are free at last. That part is that. Thank you. That was Martin Luther King's speech. I know.